John Deadwood was a God-fearing, loving father and husband, but he was much more than that. He was always more than willing to help others and lend a helping hand. It is with great sadness that I stand in front of you today to celebrate the life of my friend John Deadwood. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Chris, and I was John Deadwood's best friend. There was not a day that went by that you probably did not see us together. We were each other's best men for our weddings, teammates for multiple teams, started a business together that continues to prosper. We met in kindergarten and were never too far separated after that. So today I come to you and say, let's not mourn John, but celebrate his life and remember all the remarkable things that he did and all the people that he touched. And to understand John the man, I think we have to start out first with John the husband and father. John was a man that loved his wife Miriam deeply from the first day he saw her. You always hear about the old saying of love at first sight and seeing it in the movies, but John lived it. There was no doubt to anyone John's feelings for Miriam from the first day he met her. Everyone laughed at how John would go out of his way every day to see and talk to Miriam when they were first dating. He would spend every second that he could with her. There was not a thing he would not do for her even back then. But as much of the love story as that was, it was only became more of a love story the day of their marriage and all the years that they were married. I had never seen John speechless until the day of his wedding. That day he was like a lost puppy. He could not even concentrate because he wanted everything to be perfect for his wife. And he kept that same goal for his whole marriage. I remember how Miriam used to tell me and my wife that John would never fail every morning to have a cup of coffee available for her, and at least once a week a set of fresh flowers so that they could have their morning conversation and see how the day was going to go. Over their 30 years of marriage, I never heard John say one negative thing about Miriam. All he ever had for her was compliments saying how wonderful of a woman she was. But as good of a father that John was, he was an even better father. John made sure that he was involved in every aspect of his children's development and lives. He was the first one to change a diaper if the child needed, or to grab them a snack if they needed something. He also never missed an event of what was going on, no matter how sick he was. He said it was far too important not to go. That never changed even as his children grew up and had families of their own. John made it a point to talk to his children weekly to see what was going on in their lives and to see if they needed anything from him. Now, I also remember a story his daughter told me of how she always knew that her dad had visited because he left her cupboards overflowing with food. John would drop everything at the drop of a dime if his children needed him or something, would take care of the situation. There was not a person that knew John or met John that doubted within a few minutes of how much he loved his family, his children, and his wife. Now that we know John the family man, let's talk about John the man and the athlete. John the man was a star athlete. As an athlete, he excelled at any sport that he tried. In high school, I remember that all of the coaches would fight over John and try to get him to be on their team. John, being the man he was, wanted to make everyone happy and worked it out with the coaches so that he could help every team, even if in the smallest capacity. Even as stretched as he would still excel, making first team All-State for all the teams that he played with. He still would then make time to help his teammates and make them better, because it was always about team to him. When he was named the High School Athlete of the Year for 2 years in a row, he made it a point to recognize his teammates. During his college years, though, nothing changed from that. John was a leader from day one and also a starter for the baseball and football team all 4 years that he was in college. He still had that same drive of always putting team first and wanting to help his teammates. But even as he did that, John continued to collect the awards for his excellence in athletics. John won the Heisman Trophy for college football excellence twice, and he also won the Golden Spikes award for baseball excellence twice during his college career. But no matter what, every time he received these awards, John would always make sure to point out that it was his teammates that helped him get there. As usual, though, John had another ace up his sleeve, and he was always able to be an outstanding academic student as well as an athletic student. While a lot of people might not think of a person as an athlete and a scholar, that was exactly what John was. John was one of the brightest people that I knew. There did not seem to be a subject that John did not succeed at, and it seemed like he was always striving to learn. John got straight A's during high school and was the school valedictorian with a 4.0 grade point average when he graduated. Even while working as hard as he was to excel in academics, he was the first person to help other people with their homework and try to make their lives better. When John got into college, it was more the same. He was always receiving straight A's. His professors would recognize his projects and his papers as the top in the class. After his years in college were about to end with his graduation, he also received a great honor of summa cum laude, which is some of the elite students in the nation. John always was one of those people that pushed himself to be a better student. He was also more than willing to tutor his fellow students because he always wanted to make everyone better. Be it athletics, academics, family, John was always the best man for the situation. John was an outstanding family man that loved his wife and children with his whole heart. He always made time for them and was willing to help them with what they needed. He was an outstanding athlete who performed on multiple stages in both high school and college level while receiving multiple high recognition awards. John was also an academic scholar that always succeeded at whatever subject he concentrated on. There was not a person that John was not willing to help. I will always remember John for the smile that he had on his face that made you smile just as much as he was, no matter the situation. John, thank you for making me a better man. You will never be forgotten.